and look at the challenges and complain about the challenges and talk about the challenges. The way to go about it is to say, okay, what can I do about those challenges so that I can transform them into opportunities? So today, again, reminding, the moral of the story of my parents, we are here not so much to think about the challenges. Yes, they are here. We all know that we have challenges. We cannot ignore them. We must acknowledge that we have challenges. However, our job for this morning is to say, what are we going to do about it? And so often, when I receive call from everyone, as you can think, or imagine, every day I'm receiving calls. Oh, Dr. Gabo, it's so hard. Oh, Dr. Gabo, it's overwhelming. Oh, Dr. Gabo, you can just thank you. They're always telling me, how bad the situation is. But in my mind, and that's just why so often people say, why are you smiling? Because in my mind, I am not thinking about the challenges. In my mind, I'm thinking, what can we do? So we can tell the challenges, guess what? You came to scare me, but you cannot scare me because I have this huge box here of opportunities that I can tap into, okay? So that challenges do not matter. So it's what we do that matters. So today is about the day of action. So yes, you can quickly talk about the challenges in your sector, but we want you to think creatively about what we are going to do. Because we've been in this crisis for quite some time now, so it's time for us now to say, okay, crisis, you're here, but this is what is happening here. So, and that's what we want the day to be. So just to give you the context of the reason why we need to do that. Some of you who have been with us when we showed the documentary, Delhi 2 years later. So we just put together like a small section of that documentary, because I want to set the stage for you today. So you understand, coming here today is not a waste of time. We do have people who are suffering. We do have people who face very traumatic situations. And it's a duty for all of us to think about how we can support them, how we can guide them. So we have a huge, list of wonderful panelists who will be coming, will be sharing with you by sectors, where we are and where we're going. So we have a wonderful opportunity today for us to really put our hearts first, because I always said, where your heart is where, you're going to be, landing. Because if your heart is not in there, you're not going to be able to do it. You must have your heart first. And then, when we have our hearts in there, we're going to put our hands, our head, our feet, our entire body into it. Then we're going to see the real transformation that is going to happen. So I'm going to ask my team just for 10 minutes to give you an overview of why we must do something. Let's go. Thank you.
In the heart of the Caribbean. Thus was born the first Black republic on the planet, Haiti. This legendary country, whose founding embodied the universal values of freedom and human rights, continues to shape and fascinate the world today through its exceptional culture, breathtaking landscapes, and complicated history. From the beginning, Haiti and its people have faced one crisis after another: conflicts and wars, reparations and payments exacted by friends.
You hear me okay? Yeah. So I'm thrilled to be here to talk a little bit about Greater Boston Legal Services. Colleagues of mine from various of our units are here. I am an attorney in our welfare law unit. So what's on the slide that we wanted to sort of use as a starting point is an attempt to summarize the primary types of cases that we've been handling so far for recently arrived immigrants. But I want to say right off the bat that GBLS does many more things that are listed up here. We have an employment law unit, that's well represented here today, that handles all kinds of workers' rights issues and wage theft and things like that. We have a family law unit, we have others. And so as immigrants get settled in our communities and are here longer, of course, they may ultimately have legal issues that we can help with in a wider variety of areas. But in terms of focusing on the needs of recently arrived immigrants and what they need kind of right away, these are the areas where we have been handling hundreds and hundreds of cases in the last couple of years. So access to mass health coverage, health insurance, access to emergency shelter and home base, a wide array of immigration cases, certainly including asylum and many other things that a lot of today's new arrivals are looking for help with. And in my area of practice, public benefits, specifically, I work on access to benefits provided by the Department of Transitional Assistance, so that's cash assistance and SNAP or food stamps, as well as access to child care financial assistance for people who need child care in order to go to work, go to school, or because they're homeless. So we have a lot of materials. I just want to note that against the back wall there, I've brought a bunch of materials about GBLS. We have flyers specifically on some issues about benefits, particularly there are benefits available to Haitian immigrants that are not necessarily available to others, and so the rules are very complicated, and we want to make sure that that information is out there so that Haitian new arrivals are getting everything they're entitled to. And then there are some benefits that new arrivals from other countries can access as well, including there's a new state SNAP program, and we've got materials back there on that as well, and hope to talk about those things more in the breakout session that I'm going to help facilitate on public benefits. So that was probably enough. Let me stop there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Naomi. So we now move to Joanne.
Yes. Next one.
I'm Joanne Hilferty. I'm the president and CEO of Morgan Memorial Goodwill Industries, which is a community-based organization with the mission of helping people with barriers to self-sufficiency to achieve independence and dignity through work. We provide a broad array of career and job training services, as well as access to employers and help finding jobs that are family sustaining. In addition to those services, we also run social enterprises that provide individuals with an opportunity to get a real work experience and a paycheck while they're preparing for jobs. We're best known for our retail enterprise and our thrift stores, but we also clean 7 million square feet of government offices with individuals with disabilities providing most of the labor. We're headquartered in Roxbury. We have job training centers on the North Shore and the Pioneer Valley, and we have 14 stores across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have a long history working with immigrants. We are the first Goodwill. Morgan Memorial Goodwill Industries was founded in the south end of Boston in 1895 and fostered a network of 150 Goodwills in North America. At the time, the south end was primarily a community of immigrants. There were people speaking 30 different languages, and the founders talked about the fact that there were people from all continents except Australia. So this is a long tradition we have over the years of working with organizations that support immigrants of many backgrounds, and we're truly honored today and at this time to be partnering with IFSI in trying to address the employment needs of new arrivals. And since the beginning of the year, we have served over 115 people coming from IFSI, worked with 40 individuals in shelters, and many others coming in our doors. As we have worked with these individuals, it's clear they have a broad and diverse array of skills background, educational levels, interests, and objectives in their careers. And our goal is to help them as individuals find jobs that work for them and help them move to family-sustaining wages. Rather than go through details on our workforce development and career services now, because I'm under instructions from Dr. Gabo to be brief, I will provide those at our session. But I do want to say that I really am confident that working together, we will be able to find jobs for people that match their needs and objectives, move them to family-sustaining wages, and in doing so, we'll be strengthening the Massachusetts economy that is in significant need of good, capable workers, and that will help us grow the economy. It's a win-win for all of us, and we're excited to have the conversation today. We're looking forward to learn, and hopefully you'll join our session. Thanks.
All right. So again, take notes, because what you are hearing now is where we're going to be in some of the workshops. We talk about DTA benefit, we talk about workers, work, okay? And we're going to talk about something else right now. And right after, I would love to have Jackie, Claire, and the third person. You told me after. Yeah.
Good morning. Bonjour. 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 Music to my ears. My name is Gina Benjamin. I am with the Haitian Mental Health Network and William James College. How do you capture mental health in 2 minutes in a slide? So I hope that you will join my session to talk about the mental health needs. As we saw in the videos, the needs are just so incredible, right? And lurking just below the surface and bubbling over. And so there isn't enough that could be said about the need to prepare a culturally and linguistically diverse workforce, as well as working with our partners in order to address the mental health needs. And it's really starting at the core essential piece of it, which is about building relationships, right? And building partnerships and collaboration. So the Haitian Mental Health Network came about in the aftermath of the earthquake of January 12, 2010. And since then, we have been offering conferences, community forums, workshops, and more recently working in the shelters, providing services around mental health literacy, around community integration. How do we adjust to life in America that is so different? And taking into account these experiences of leaving our home country, the journey to get here, which has been, which is traumatic, the reception here, which continues to be traumatic, and then how do we look at the opportunities in the midst of that, right? People want to work, people want to be self-sufficient, people want to be independent, and in order to do that, we also need to look at the mental health needs and provide the support that is necessary. And the work that is done at William James College, it's really preparing a workforce that's culturally and linguistically able to meet the needs. And so we have career ladder opportunities from those with high school diplomas all the way through doctoral level. And so really recruiting, retaining a culturally and linguistically diverse workforce to work with the families that we hold so near and dear. Thank you for being here. Thank you, IFSI, for the incredible work that you do. And I hope you'll come and talk about how do we build a robust system to support the mental health needs of our beloved brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gina. And I know Dr. Celestine will be joining to lead the workshop for us on mental health with all of the providers who are here. So good job. And now we are going to introduce our beloved Claire. Cécile.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I am Claire Cécile Pierre. I'm at National Brigham, where I serve as the Vice President for Community Health. All of my time really has been spent working on increasing access to care, both here in the US, but also I spent a lot of time in Haiti. So I'm really hoping that we'll have conversations today about what it means to access care, which is not just to have a clinic near you that you can walk to or take the bus to, but what it means to have the walls open to you with staff that understand what you've been through as you're just getting a vaccine, or people who understand how stressful it is when you don't have insurance, or don't understand how to even get the right type of insurance. And so at Mass General Brigham, our work across all of our hospitals and clinics has been to have teams that have worked with you and many in this room to really understand what the challenges are, but we're still learning. We're learning from other hospitals, we're learning from the state, we're learning from the city, and so we're open to any suggestions you may have about how we can collaborate to increase access to care. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in a bit.
Good morning. My name is Jackie Puto, and I'm Partnerships and Engagement Manager for the Haiti Development Institute, which is being hosted at the Boston Foundation. On behalf of the Board of Directors and my colleagues at HDI, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Gabo and her incredible team at IFSI for putting together this wonderful and very important gathering in light of the current immigration wave and the many challenges we've been facing as a community in trying to address a lot of needs as a community. We think at this point we've been overwhelmed, and I want to really salute the work of many of our colleagues involved in providing services to the immigrant population. I certainly envision many events such as this one happening over the next few years. The Haiti Development Institute was created at Haiti Fund immediately after the earthquake of 2010 as a response. And a wonderful couple from Boston, Jim and Karen and Sarah, they put aside their own money and they started the Haiti Fund at the Boston Foundation for 5 years. After that, they checked with people that were getting some of the assistance, and they saw the need to turn that into an institute. Hence, the Haiti Development Institute today. The bulk of our work is happening in Haiti, and our mission is threefold. As a grant maker, we serve as an intermediary to distribute grants from funders to local organizations in Haiti. To the leaders of these organizations, we provide capacity building and reinforcement training in areas such as program management, project management, governance, finance and accounting, as well as assistance so they can have a presence on the internet. So on a regular basis, we bring all these leaders together so they can share their experiences and learn from each other, basically. As a civic leader and convener, our mission is really to bring people together so they can have conversations around issues that are really dear to their community. We also reach out to funders so we can facilitate conversations. They have a chance to talk to people actually getting those funds from them. And they walk away with a deeper understanding of what it is that they're going through and how they can serve these people better. Personally, I consider people involved in providing services to the immigrant and refugee population as unsung heroes, and I really salute them. The reality is that at this point, we've been overwhelmed by what's happening. As a community, we cannot do this alone, and we are really glad that you come here to help us. Back in November of 2023, HDI reached out to some of our colleagues, and the idea is to come together, assess what we've been doing as far as our interventions so far, assess the gaps that are still remaining, and see how we can address those gaps as a community. I'd like to invite some of you to join us in the breakout sessions. It's called Philanthropy. You can check in your program and see when that's going to happen. And what the location will be. But at this point, I'd like to really invite you to continue to join forces with us and see what we can do as far as addressing the needs of our population. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, just for you to get your taste, we cannot do the work alone. We need the philanthropy community to join forces with us. So at this time, I'm going to call Cindy and Andrea to come. Yes. Yes.
Hi, I don't have a slide, sorry. My name is Andrea. I'm from Massachusetts Law Reform Institute. I'll give a little bit of a description of legal services just so you know that we're not, same as Naomi from Greater Boston Legal Services. They serve the direct, they do direct client work for the people in their service area, and there is a legal services organization for every part of the state, and they take cases in all those practice areas. Our organization, MLRI, is kind of a sister organization to theirs. We do statewide work. We're called a backup support center, and we also do the advocacy at the State House with the state agencies that we need to see changes on the policy level so that the people on the field can do their jobs better and help more people. So I want to say first how happy I am to see this room and Dr. Umo. It's really the best thing that could happen on a Friday morning after a really strange week. I think all of you know that housing has been an issue in Massachusetts for a long time before any of us started thinking about what to do about the fact that we have many more immigrants coming from Haiti to Massachusetts. I work both with homelessness in the shelter system, specifically the family shelter system, which is called emergency assistance, where many of our families, as you know, are placed right now, and also on the broader housing issues. So I just want to say that, in our group, I think we'll be able to talk about those very specific things, including how access to the shelter system works or doesn't work, what the advocacy is that's needed right now in order to make sure that we keep those services going and make them better for everyone. I think what's really difficult but also presents an opportunity right now is that this system was existing before this happened, right? And I know that we've seen media saying this migrant shelter as though it just appeared because Massachusetts wanted to help people from Haiti. That's not the case. I think, they do, but it's also overwhelming a system that was already existing, but that's not actually fair because there were many people in that system because they couldn't find housing, right? And so we have to be very clear, and I would love all of your help in making sure that we are joining together to say, we need to provide for people who are eligible, not because they're immigrants, not because we think they have great skills and are going to get to work. I don't actually care if people are going to work or not. I want us to help because we are human beings and we need to be here to help each other. So I want to make sure that we can help with this advocacy, both in the shelter system. We'll talk about home base, which many of you may have heard about, is part of the system, which is money that's going out to help people find housing. That's great. The problem is, as we said from the beginning, housing is very expensive and there's not enough of it. So being part of this fight for shelter and getting out of shelter means being part of this fight for housing justice. And I would really love to see some of you and are going to talk about how you're going into this advocacy that's been ongoing.
Hi, good morning. I'm Cindy Rowe. I'm the CEO of JALSA, the Jewish Alliance for Law and Social Action. And the way we got into this work, we have a very broad mission: social, economic, environmental, and racial justice. But we've been involved in the immigration space for many decades now, and our most recent effort in this was around the immigrant driver's license bill. We're very proud to say that our staff attorney actually wrote that bill. Really one of our proudest accomplishments. But that brought us into a coalition with many immigration groups, and when we saw what was happening in the motels, we were very concerned that hate groups would start targeting them. So we brought together groups to really be in front of that, and 2 days later, hate groups started targeting the motels. So unfortunately, we were right, and that brought us right back into this immigration space to see how we could be helpful. And some of the ways that we have been involved in this is helping to bring the faith community into the work, helping to find sites for people who need to be in overflow shelters, in day shelters, finding host families for some folks. And the other important thing that we've been doing is helping to break down some of the silos between state government agencies, trying to get the folks who work in state government and immigration and in housing and in healthcare talking to each other to figure out how to serve the needs of the families who are coming here now. One of the most important things we've done so far is figure out how to bring the resettlement agencies into contact with the regional nonprofit housing agencies to access that home-based money and move people into apartments quickly. They're charged with moving 400 families into apartments before the end of December. So the first two have moved in Lowell last weekend. We got the first 2 leases signed, and now we have hundreds more who hopefully will be able to use home-based money to get apartments and jobs quickly.
Wonderful. And as you are talking about faith-based, I want to bring Trevor and the entire team to talk about the work of the faith-based community and how so many of you can also join.
So honored to be with you today. I'm Pastor Melinda Priest, and I'm wearing kind of several different hats. At our church in Jamaica Plain, we have Immigrant Connection at Awaken City. So we're Department of Justice. I'm a Department of Justice legal rep, as well as Pastor Christina as well. So we have a legal office that operates out of our church. But why I'm here today is also representing Boston Flourish, which is a conference that brings together city leaders, faith-based leaders, and nonprofits to say, how can we create a ecosystem for citywide transformation? And so one of the things we're working on right now is creating a resource map. It's, again, so honored to be with Dr. Gabo and so many of you today, and God is just using so many of you to do so many amazing things, but we don't always know about one another. And so the city is helping us create a resource map where we can really identify places of belonging, especially within the nonprofit and faith community, that says our church, our organization is a place of belonging, a place of welcome. And so Christine, if you want to share with them about this form that we'll be passing out, and then again, Trevor from Moya, the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement, can share a little bit more about that.
Great morning, everyone. So great to be here with you all. So many beautiful faces. Thank you for putting this together. What an amazing initiative. Thank you. Bless you. So I'll be passing this around. This is a Zoom meeting we'll have on Friday, March 8th. There's a barcode. You can scan the barcode and register to be part of this meeting that we'll have with Moya, Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement, and all the leaders across the city, so we can, like Melinda mentioned, map out all the resources that we have. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We're all here willing to do the work. We just have to get together and know about one another, right? So I'm going to be passing this around. If you can scan the barcode, I can take your information and send you the link. But it will be amazing if we can all be part of this initiative. Thank you. I'm going to pass it.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you again, Dr. Gabo, for this opportunity. My name is Trevor Lafasi. I'm with the City of Boston Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement. I just want to share, kind of follow up on those announcements, that we do work with our colleague, William Dickerson, who is the senior advisor and head of faith-based initiatives for the City of Boston. So many of you have seen Will on his monthly calls out in the community. Really, this is an opportunity for folks already involved to, again, learn more about, but also for those with faith leaders, those with faith-serving organizations, for those that really have a passion for this work to really plug in. So again, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but with the Office of Immigrant Advancement, this is an opportunity to connect with us directly. We're able to kind of, as Melinda said, like do some resource mapping. And so if you have folks in your communities, in your congregations that are passionate about this issue, that want to learn about volunteering, that want to learn more about potentially housing an immigrant family in their homes, if you all have landlords that want to provide opportunities for these migrants, we're really happy to be a part of that conversation. So again, the event next Friday is a great opportunity to start the conversation. We know you're all doing amazing work, and we're here to support you, the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Again, just for you to take note, to know exactly where you go to learn in terms of your workshop, in terms of how you have interest. But I wanted to bring my sister, my colleague, Lenita, that you probably heard a lot about. just to quickly, from Resident Worker Center, just to quickly share with you, I know 10 seconds is not going to, but what she's been doing around the Welcome Center. So let's really put our heads together for Linda.
Good morning, everyone. Surprise! I came to support and to learn more because we have been doing this work with the new arrivals since June. So we have been named as the first Welcome Center, but everybody knows that the first one is Dr. Gabo. But we have been learning a lot with them. We have been, for the past 7 months, we saw over 7,000 individuals at the Brazilian Worker Center. So the arrivals come. I'm very blessed because many of them have been passed to Brazil. They speak some Portuguese and they always say good things about Brazil. But the only thing that's not good in Brazil is that we still struggle to have access, and that's why they're here. But many of them say, one day I'll be back to Brazil. So, we have so many little Brazilians. There's Haitian parents, and they're born in Brazil, and they always so happy to be there with us. So we have been doing the best we can. We have been trying to learn some Haitian Creole. We have people that speak Haitian Creole. There is Haitian Creole there, and we have someone that came in July and as a new arrival, and today is part of our staff. So with the help of Agência Alpha that applied for the work permits, Roberto, that is an amazing Haitian born, and now he's Brazilian by heart, has been working with us. So thank you all for being here today, and it's great to see so many people together. I think we can do much more for our brothers and sisters.
Just so you know, Linda is one of the co-chair of the drivers that since beer. So the good job that happened, so she's a good chair. So thank you, Linda. All right, wonderful. So quickly, Regine, and no, we're going to bring Brian after because I want Brian to connect us to Haiti, okay? But Regine and Daphne, who are on education, come on, quickly. Thank you.
I have to say hi to Daphne. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Regine Filippo. I'm the CEO of ATES Education. I'm a longtime educator. Before ATES, I was in Boston Public Schools as a senior leader. I'm also the co-founder of a STEAM school, and we serve a highly immigrant community. This afternoon, I think Daphne and I, and perhaps Sophia, Dr. Sophia Boyer, will be conducting a conversation with you about the challenges that our students, my brothers and sisters from Haiti, who have taken the journey to come here and enjoy and benefit from what we are benefited here. What are some of the challenges that their children are facing in the school system? So we'll be focusing on K-12. I have to say, just as a prelude, that I've been following on social media some of the comments, and I had a comment from someone in the Boston area that said, are we voting for a particular candidate because I want these illegals out? And so what happens when we have this kind of attitude or perceived, right, philosophy about newly arrived folks? And so I'm just happy, by the way, to see the work that's happening here, because it's going to help us in the school districts and the school system. So thank you for having me.
One of the things that Dr. Filippo kind of lightly mentioned, Dessalines Academy is a virtual school that she founded, and it supports the teaching of Haitian Creole. And so as an advocate for keeping our language for the next generation to come, we ask that continuous support for amazing leaders such as yourself in our community. My name is Pastor Daphne Germain LaRoche. I am one of the managing partners for the Massachusetts Association of Haitian Parents. And what I do within this role as a volunteer is continue to advocate for the rights of education for our children, K-16, Our desire is that we do not lose another generation, especially for our children going through this whole process as migrants coming in. They are most easily lost in the system. And so our desire in our conversation is how do we create a network, not just for today, but a network that's looking 10, 15 years down the line to make sure that our children get access to appropriate education, quality education, access to college so that they can enter in, not just in any opportunity, but the opportunity that destiny designed for them. So we look forward to incorporating you in our conversation, and a shout out to amazing educators that I see. Ms. Igbo's Bordeaux, one of the founding teachers of the Haitian Dual Language Program in Boston. And woo-hoo!
Wonderful. All right. Okay. So, Mr. Alex, you have to tell me, did I cover everyone? I'm not missing anyone.
If anyone is not presented, it is supposed to.
Okay. All right. All right. So, Brian, why don't you join us? Pastor Kiki, I know he speaks Haitian Creole, and sometimes he's trying to challenge us to tell us whether or not he speaks better Haitian Creole than we do. So, Brian, such a pleasure to be with you. But just give us a little tiny bitsy piece in terms of, how does that connect with the situation in Haiti right now?
Thank you, Doctor. As an American, I'm deeply grateful for everything that Haitian immigrants, both who have been here a while and are arriving, are bringing to our country. But as someone who lived in Haiti for 9 years and who understands how wonderful a country it can be, it's deeply sad to me that people who want to stay can't stay. And when I see what happens on that journey, I'm completely outraged that people are forced to take that journey. And they're not forced by any kind of inevitable character of Haiti. They're forced by decisions that are made, deliberate policy decisions that are made in Haiti and in Washington, D.C. and other places outside Haiti that force people to leave. And so I'm happy to talk to anybody about how we can work on policies, especially in the United States, but also back in Haiti, to make Haiti a place where people who want to stay and want to live in a wonderful country can do so.
Yes. Okay. All right. All right. So, is there anyone who was supposed to be here and speak that I did not call because I don't want to miss anyone? We good? Okay, wonderful. So now Pastor Kiki, as always, is going to tell us who is in the room in general before we move to the next step. Pastor Kiki.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Gabo. Just put your hand together for Dr. Gabo. I call her my combatant. His combatant is a fighter, and that's what we have been doing along the way. To God be the glory. Is that right? This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Thank you. We are so fortunate and so grateful for all of you here. So we're going to call upon some organizations, and then I'm going just to give those that I don't call to stand for me and shout out your organizations because I don't have them all. Thank you. But I want to call the CHA, the Cambridge Health Alliance in the house. Please stand. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. The whole group, you can see me behind you. Thank you so much. And we have ECFA. That's the Healthcare for All. I've seen that in there. Jamila, Healthcare for All. Thank you so much. And we have BWC. They have a great group here as well. So a great partner down here. Then we have IDGH with Brian. Thank you so much. We have GBLS, Naomi, Mayor, as you hear. Good. Thank you. We got a great team with us. We got as well as MLRI. So, again, Andrea, you heard that, and we're fighting for a report. Many people entered, and the report expired, and we're trying to see how we can do to get those reports. Understand that. And we have also MAHP here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we have the Toussaint Louverture Academy in-house. Please stand, Rocha Angel, Ms. Budo. This is the first Haitian dual language program in the country. Not here, but in the country. Toussaint Louverture Academy. And we have a DPH represented here, Department of Public Health. Melissa, where are you? Okay, thank you so much. We have the Health Connector as well here with us, providing great services to us. As you know, there is a new law. Our Health Connector has been expanded, making more people available now for Health Connector. Understand that. Thank you so much. And we have Mass Behavioral Health also here providing, Diego, will you stand? Providing just resources for the community, especially working at the shelter as well with us. And we have a Boston Public School BPS here. Please, will you stand? BPS, I saw you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right here, coming up, we have the U.S. Haitian Chamber of Commerce here. Dr. Hens cannot be here, but send his greetings. Thank you so much. And we have the RCC. We have Dr. Alliston here. RCC, come on, please stand. Roxbury Community College. Anyone else from RCC? Come on, please stand and be recognized. Great work, thank you. We have our great organization, Mira Coalition. Yes. Massachusetts Immigrant Refugee Advocacy Coalition. Thank you so much. And then we have also the Haitian Education Network here. Okay. Williams James College. Okay, with Mental Health Institute as well. Here with us, we have the Haitian American United Incorporated HAU. This is me as well, by the way, okay? So, this is HAU, Trial Center, Manchester Haitian Parent Association, you name it, I am in it, okay? And we have the Moya, okay, the Office of Immigrant Advocacy right here. With us, let's see who else that have right here. And then our counselor will be here later with us, the first Haitian American elected as the president of the city council of the great city of Boston, Woodson region, will be with us later down here. And then we also have a great partner. If you don't understand that, a great partner that definitely sue the Trump administration to keep TPS on the book. Lawyers for civil rights. Well, Ivan, come on. Thank you so much. Now, to who I miss in the organization, I'm so sorry. Dennis?
The Boston Immigration Justice and Accompaniment Network.
Yeah. Region and Boston Immigration Justice Accompaniment. Thank you so much. Dennis?
Morgan Memorial Goodwill Industries, our CEO spoke earlier. She's
Morgan, yes, a Goodwill. I had that written, for some reason I just didn't get. I'm so sorry again.
Yes.
Please stand.
Mass Advocates for Children.
Mass Advocate for Children. Thank you for being here with us.
Massachusetts League of Community Health Centers. We help all health centers in Massachusetts. I see a couple folks in here, so happy to help.
Massachusetts Association, all of our community health centers who IFSI developed great partnership. We have them every Friday in Mattapan conducting wellness clinics. Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes.
Salvation Army, thank you. Great service. We have also AGC, Emmanuel Gospel Center, here with us. Thank you. Stand over. And then we have also our great partner, JVS, Jewish Vocational Services. And please, that group helping me. Trial Center has its own link. Okay, thank you.
The Massachusetts Immigrant Collaborative, of which IFSI is a member.
Make the Massachusetts Immigrant Collaborative as well.
Okay, we're coming.
I'm coming. Right here. The Family Health Center all the way from Worcester. Thank you for being here with us. Mabel Center, Immigration. That's why we can't go without you guys. Thank you.
Children's Services of Roxbury.
Yeah. Children's Services of Roxbury. Thank you. And my friend from Big is a Brighton Interfaith, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you. Somebody else?
The Collaborative Parent Leadership Action Network.
Collaborative Parent Leadership Network. Thank you.
wellness empowering minorities.
Yeah.
Healing and wellness, we need that.
They will need foundation, happy poor people.
Woo!
They will need foundation, helping people.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Rion Immigrant Center.
Oh, yeah.
Rihanna, thank you so much. Thank you, Rihanna. Used to be the Irish immigration, if you don't forget that. That's what we service like that. Okay? Thank you. And then we capture everybody here, all the partners. Thank you so much for your great and colossal assistance. And we would like to introduce to you the members of the board of Immigrant Family Services Institute. IFSI, will you stand please? The members of the board, Dr. Sophia, where are you? Come on. Roll, where are you? Phyllis, are you here? Okay. Thank you. And as you know, and all the volunteers, the staff of IFSI, there are so many here putting this thing together.
Yes.
God bless you. Thank you.
Great job, great job. I told you I could not do it because he's the one who knows everyone. So at this point, I'm going to introduce like a very, she doesn't want me to say it like this, but I'm going to say it anyway, very important person because in the heart of this crisis, you know, she and her team have been doing a lot of work to make sure that our families can find, you know, the resources that they need. So Christina just, you know, was hired to go to ORI. In her mind, when she was going there, she thought that, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake, you know, I'm going to be happy. And before, you know, the same day, both Christina and Roni, all my wonderful people, the same day that they reached the door of the ORI, guess what? 7 days a week, 24/7, they cannot sleep, they cannot do anything because there is so much. So Christina, come here. Let's give a big hand to Christina.
I'm sure that you sleep a lot. Hi everybody, good morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Gabo, for inviting me. Thank you so much, Pastor Kiki, for inviting and welcoming everybody. And you know, I'm sure you're a member of every single one of those organizations. Actively working day in, day out, because I see you doing so much amazing work. It's great to be here. It feels always when I'm in this type of space with so many familiar faces that are friends in this work for many years. I feel very comfortable and very welcome. And also, I feel like this added responsibility to make sure that I keep all of you as informed as possible of what's happening in the state. I know that you see it in the door of your organizations, in the thick of your programs, and in the speed of the work that you all have had to embark to make sure that every single family is welcome, is resettled, is connected to services. But clearly we continue to be in a state of emergency, and as the director of the Office for Refugees and Immigrants, I'm really privileged to be able to be in this role. Though I miss my times with Dr. Gabo in my steering committee at the Massachusetts Immigrant Collaborative, I'm really privileged to be able to do this work in this capacity in this point in time when we really need to make all the connections and relationships that we can to ensure that families are not just supported within the government structure, but are connected to the experts in the field that can provide the best service with the most culturally competent and real, like even both lived experience and understanding of how can families really achieve stability and reach that point of being able to sustain their families the way every single one of them tell you they want. So as I started from the moment I started, we jumped into the big task on our hands, which was to, I think for the state in general, it was to figure out how to collectively and across government really ensure that everybody was safe and that we could do that with an understanding that resources are not unlimited. But to me, it also became this challenge of ensuring that people were talking the right way about this. Because to me, this is not, immigrants are coming is not a crisis. That is a phenomenal opportunity for our state, and you all have seen it in the way our communities can thrive together when new blood comes in, ready to work, ready to be a part of the, when the communities that receive them really do the effort to include them, and we all thrive better and together when we're doing that type of inclusion and integrating work. But what it really is a housing crisis and a shelter crisis. And embarking into that vision of like responding to the immediate need, which is, at 1.40 families arriving in one day. Right now, the numbers have slowed down because I believe for the weather, but and also because of the capacity of having reached capacity in our shelter system. Meaning that, while also understanding that our entire emergency assistance shelter system needed to shift because the demographics of that they're seeing is very different. I remember being at Rian Immigrant Center in another capacity about, 2.5 years ago, and receiving a lot of calls from the Roxbury Children's Services, from the St. Francis House, from many shelters saying, we suddenly receive a big number of newly arrived immigrants, and this is not the population we usually serve. Help us. Like, can you connect them, can you train us on all this legal status madness that we don't necessarily work with before, so we didn't understand? Or can you connect us with the right partners in the community-based organizations to be able to have the tools in our toolbox to make this happen? But I think right now, as government, we have a responsibility to ensure that not only are we relying on sometimes in the community-based organizations, but really approach this as our shifting demographic in our shelter system, and how do we really recreate and rethink and reimagine what would this system look like. So slowly but surely, we're walking that path, but in parallel, we have to make sure that families are safe, and this is really hard. Just yesterday, 46 people were sleeping at the airport. It's very cold today. I cannot stop thinking about them. And, it's really critical to find those solutions to make sure that these specific individuals that don't become a number, but are very specific stories that need that support. And there have been so many organizations that have saved the day many times. I mean, I can't even start talking about the Brazilian Worker Center and what they've done every day to save the night for these families, and IFSI constantly as well, being a tremendous partner. And those type of partners that when you call, they say yes regardless. They figure out all the rest later. They're just saving lives all the time. You have no idea how many partners I've called, and they've told me they were going to think about it. And in an emergency, when we needed the response right away, and when, to be honest, government was doing so much to make sure that was fine, and it was still not enough. So this is really an all hands on deck situation, and at this point we've had since we reached the shelter capacity, and I'm talking to all of you like you're all immersed into my world, but if you don't know what that capacity means, is that about November of last year, after standing up a impromptu shelter system by placing families in hotels all over the state, without shelter providers, with the Association of Haitian Pastors coming and talking to them and supporting them, with Gina going with her folks to help them, with so many of you providing mental health services, etc., out of the goodness of your heart, because I know funding is very tight and it's also very unfair. In that process, when it got to a point when we couldn't continue to expand the hotel system because the cost was passing $1 billion, we wanted to make sure that those families had that were going to be placed in this wait list had a place to go. So we started looking into overflow shelter and into overnight shelters, and I cannot tell you how many communities of faith have knocked the door to see if they would open their doors to their churches to host this family so that they wouldn't be at the airport. And I was glad to see that with an effort of the Housing Livable Communities team and United Way, they made sure that they created a fund so that some of these overnight shelters would be funded. So in that process, a lot of the families in this wait list that reach at 1,600 people were starting to be placed in overnight shelters in congregate settings. And once they got in the ones that couldn't make it because the overflow shelter would fill up really, really fast were the ones that ended up going to the airport. And many nights it was a run to see when magically a private funder would stop by and be like, I'll pay for this weekend hotels for all these 60 families. You know, it was just such a blessing to know that they were going to be safe for like a couple of nights. But we need to be able to do more than that. There's still more resources out there that we need to tap on, and we need to figure out together, you know, what are those churches with space that can host these families, and what are these community-based organizations that can take 1, 2, 3. And because of that, we started the Host Family Program, thanks to the Brazilian Worker Center running it. And there's so many beautiful stories about host families opening their doors to keep these families safe for sometimes one night, sometimes 3 weeks. Others just want to keep them. And it's just really, really, truly wonderful story. So I will be sharing with IFSI all the materials around how to become a host family. I am extremely grateful at BJAN for everything you all did to make sure that all this host family program was possible as well. And so, you know, I'm telling you some scattered notes about the realities because those are the daily things. But in our vision, in this future of emergency assistance that I was sharing in the beginning that we want to get to, that is inclusive, that is ensures that all demographics are served and meet where they are. I want to make sure that, you know, that we're working hard to set up programs that can be extended to families that currently are in the shelter system, but with a roadmap so that these can be open for every family. Because we, as the Office for Refugees and Immigrants, have now this really exciting mission to bring parity to the way we have traditionally resettled refugees in our state, in the way we should be welcoming and resettling all immigrants. But with the current state of emergency, we're really prioritizing the ESOL programs, the rehousing program with the resettlement agencies, the legal programs that you probably heard. The impact has been tremendous as well, thanks to so many of you. I see Mira, I see Mabel, I see so many people that have been investing so much time in these, Rian as well. So I'm really grateful for the work that IFSI does. I'm really grateful that you convene all this. I mean, can you imagine what we can get out of this group today?
Yes.
We're totally solving this situation. Like, you know, my goal is that tonight there's not going to be 46 souls sleeping on the cold floor of the airport. So let's make that happen.
That's what we are about to go and work on finding solutions. Yes, definitely. So quickly, Mr. Kiki wanted to acknowledge. You can come, Jennifer.
Yeah, I would like to acknowledge. Alors, on sait que deux monde qui là, si nous pas parler, combien de monde qui pas comprendre anglais, qui n'a avec nous l'assemblée. Vous attendez, ok? Par exemple, si nous décalons sur table ça, l'étape est bon. L'étape là et puis pasteur Dr. Carlos Celestin, après là pour capable traduire pour nous. Alors sur l'étape ça, pour nous mettre qui point. Ok, perfect. Nous gagnons. Oui. So sorry. We also have a family here who hosted another Haitian family for a week. And I want her to stand. Lisa, would you please stand? Yes, yes. And it is real. When we're talking about host family, it is real. She's real. She hosts a Haitian family almost a month now?
Yeah, over a month.
About over a month now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right. So we are getting ready to go to the purpose of today, which is for you to go to work. But Jennifer wanted to kind of quickly give you the general context as you go to the workshop, as a way for you to understand, because I know so many of you are probably in this area and not in this one, and so often you have a good understanding of housing, but not so much on legal or anything else. So we just go to quickly, in less than 5 minutes, giving an overview, and after, we're going to show you where we are going to go for the rest of this morning. Let's go quickly, Jennifer.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Gabo. So, as Dr. Gabo said, the goal of this conversation today is really to get to work. It's really to come up with concrete solutions that are actionable, that we can leave this symposium today and say on Monday, we have a plan to get started, or we know what we want to work towards. So before we do that, we want to sort of set the stage a little bit. We've heard from such wonderful partners who are going to be leading the workshops, but we really want to ground everyone in where we are. So I'm not going to do too much on IFSI's mission. You know that the goal of our organization is to expedite the successful integration of our newly arrived immigrants, and we're all sort of here to do that today, right? And so before we get into sort of this humanitarian crisis, I think we found it would be helpful to look at the bigger picture, right? So when we were putting together the documentary, one of the things that we really heard is, while we're talking about the humanitarian crisis, what caused that? What brought us here today? So one of the things we wanted to quickly do is talk about the drivers of the immigration crisis that has been happening, right? And so when we're looking at what was happening back in Haiti that's sort of causing sort of these influx of folks to leave their homes, we're talking about natural disasters. As you know, in 2010, Haiti experienced that devastating earthquake, hurricanes, political instability, the assassination of our president, right? Widespread economic and food insecurity. So all of those things are drivers of individuals who are sending refugees here seeking sort of support. And we have to be mindful, it's not just Haitians that are experiencing this, right? So there are lots of other groups coming in from South America. We have folks from Venezuela, and you'll notice in the next couple of slides these common threads: political instability, economic instability, political repression, right? Nicaragua and Cuba, same situation. Sanctions in the US, which are causing inflation in their countries. We're talking about, again, more natural disasters. All of these things have been huge drivers in bringing people into the US, and of course from other countries such as China, India, Senegal, and Mauritania as well. And so when we're looking at sort of the influx of people coming in, right now we're feeling like it's like a tidal wave of folks coming at us, right? And so we have to be mindful that over the years, there has always been a trickling of refugees coming into the US, right? And so under sort of a controversial administration, we had a pause. We had a pause on folks being able to come into the country under the Title 42. And so one of the things Alex and I were saying when we were putting these slides together, Title 42 was focused on public health, right? So it was that our president has the ability to put sanctions in place that protect sort of our public health from any disease spreading, which was a result of COVID. So the Trump administration used Title 42 to be able to sort of block the influx of migrants coming in. Hence this dip that you see over that 4-year period. So then when that sort of Title 42 was lifted, we began to see this huge flow of sort of migrants coming in. And so we wanted to put this picture in place because it wasn't just a sudden thing that happened. This was the product of years in the making. Next slide. And so we wanted to share this picture because, as you know, this picture made a huge statement across the country, right? The mistreatment of migrants at the Del Rio border. It was an event that was catastrophic, and it shined a light on the mistreatment of refugees in our country. And so the impact of Del Rio created provisions that, again, made more legal ways for folks to come into the country. Next slide. And now we want to talk about the state of Massachusetts. So again, a lot of the things that we're feeling the heavy lift of right now are things that have been existing. Massachusetts was in a housing crisis well before our friends started coming in seeking refuge. These are news clippings from 2019, from 2020, 2021, talking about how we were already sort of hiking up prices to our homes, folks coming in, buying their apartments and making those not affordable for the folks who live here, right? So those things are not existing now. We're just feeling the strain. So as you know, Massachusetts is a right to shelter state, which is why we have such a, we've been so welcoming to the immigrants looking for safety. But you know, with the cap that was placed on the right to shelter in November of 2023, that is what caused us to start looking at different modes of being able to provide shelter for folks. And that's when we saw folks seeking shelter at the airport. With all of the minds that have been put together here, we saw the opening of overflow sites. And as you all know, overflow sites are different from shelters. We have shelters where those were hotel rooms and motel rooms that we were able to identify and place families, which are one room with multiple families and children. And then we have the overflow sites, right, which are located, we have 4 here, Melnia, Cass, Seaport, and North Cambridge. And these overflow sites are emergency shelters for overnight sleeping. And again, these are just a couple of the challenges that we noticed in all of the different shelters and overflow sites, right? So it's wonderful to have shelter, but being mindful that families are experiencing their own sets of challenges. There's no access to any kitchens. Families are in one room. In overflow sites, you can't stay for the day. That's been very challenging for families. And then the current challenges that we continue to face, of course, access to housing. Huge, huge, huge one. Delayed work authorizations, limited ESOL classes, healthcare access, all of the many things that our partners have described today. We're noticing all those challenges and also recognizing that as we're doing this work, because each organization has their own, what I like to call bread and butter, there's no real centralized approach to how we're doing this work. Hence why we're all coming here today. Next slide. Next slide. And this slide was just to show sort of what all of the different organizations are experiencing, right? So we had this like slight sort of flow of people coming in quarter by quarter, and then you notice these large spikes, right? So we were going sort of along, trekking and doing our work, but this is the effect of the crisis that we are feeling. So when we were putting the slides together, we wanted to give this sort of big picture, but we also wanted to show you all what happens when people come together, when all the folks and all the wonderful minds we have here come together and do work. These are some of the recent wins. It's not all dreary, it's not all bad. We've been able to see an emphasis on expediting work authorizations, such as speeding up those biometric appointments to get folks in to get your work authorization, provisions to obtain Massachusetts driver's license regardless of status, revamping the home-based program and figuring out how do we improve systems so we can get folks out of those shelters and hotels, temporary cash assistance for new arrivals, creations of informal ESOL programs to make up for the gaps, and of course expedited resources for applications and benefits. So there are successes. There is proven track record of what happens when all the minds come together to do this work. And that's what we're hoping we can continue to build on today.
Wonderful, great job, great job. Great overview again. So important for us to get the context. So now, we're going to start. Larry, can you help me with that? Because you always have those exercises that you do after people, spend so much time. Come. I know. Let's do something before what do you want to do?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it seems like after we've taken in all of this information that there needs to be some way to kind of integrate it. So I think we better move a little bit. So I think we stand up.
Let's stand up.
Stand up. Yep. And make sure now connect with take one hand and shake it.
Yes.
The other hand and shake it. Take out your right foot. Take out your left foot. And then find at least 2 neighbors to give a high five to and connect a little bit.
Good job. So that we can benefit from each other. So quickly, I'm going to ask the team, whoever is the reporter from the
workforce development, job training to come forward, please. All right. Whoever was in the mental and physical health, the reporter to come forward, please. Mental health, physical health, a lot of great conversations. Faith base, come back. Faith base and philanthropy. Come here, come here, come here. Faith base, whoever is the reporter, come back. Education, education, come here, come here. Legal, come. Faith base, okay. Faith base. Oh yeah. All right, you can. Okay. All right, you can have a seat here. Who else am I missing? Education or social benefits? Benefits, right? If you don't mind putting the other slide so that I can see who am I missing. Okay, workforce development is here. Who is doing workforce? Here. You're doing workforce, right? Okay. Yes. Philanthropy, mental health. Cynthia, you're doing housing, okay. Public benefits, okay. Bring more chair, okay. Housing, public benefit, and legal. Who's doing legal in advocacy? That must be you, right? Let's bring a chair. Okay. Wonderful. All right. Okay. All right. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So this is so important. This part is so important because all of us will have the opportunity to hear action item. What exactly we are going to do to help improve whatever area that they are working on. So at this point, I'm going to really ask everyone to pay attention. Okay? Everyone to pay attention. Okay. Because our reporters are coming back and we want to make sure that everyone can hear. And remember, we are taking notes and we are going to really put together a report for all of us so that we can take a look at what we need to do and what we can do. All right? So we're going to, without Miss Dr. Pierre, all right? Daphne's coming, okay? All right. Okay. So we're going to, here, come here. Okay, that's good, wonderful. So we have our wonderful counselor at large. All right, come on, yes. Madam President. So I'm so glad that you're here because you are here exactly at the time that we needed you to be here. Because all of those wonderful people are coming to report back on action item. Okay, action item, what exactly they're going to do. And I know that you've been working so hard to make sure that people are paying attention to all of the issues. So just before they start, I just wanted to welcome you and to give you the opportunity to share a few words.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. I'm buenos dias a todos. I am Ruthie Louis-Jeanne, President of the Boston City Council and at-large City Councilor. And Mike, I didn't see all of the illustrious people here on this panel. Just really excited to be here. Really want to thank everyone for the incredible work that you are all doing in your own spaces to uplift the immigrant rights issues that we face, right? We know that right now we're in a politically tense moment when it comes to talking about protecting our immigrants and migrants, but that doesn't mean that we stop doing the work. 3 years ago when I was in the Boston City Council, I was the first elected official, I think, in the state of Massachusetts that set aside an allocation for temporary housing for our migrants. And we need to continue to do that work. We need to continue to push forward, even as people want to talk about budget cuts, even as we have a federal government that's trying to enact inhumane policies when it comes to our border. We need to stand in the gap. I am so grateful for all of these leaders, these lawyers, these activists, these mental health counselors, everyone who's here, our pastors, our faith community, my fellow electeds, my sister in the struggle, my first grade teacher who right here, Miss Nicholas. Yes, there she is. My father behind the camera, my father from God, Pastor Kiki, my staff who is here, my office, I just want you to know my office, we are here. Cindy DeJus right there, my director of constituent services. We have been doing this work, I see you, Brian King, so many people, I'm gonna stop calling out people, because I'm gonna get in trouble. We are doing this work because this is a work that we were called to do. We will continue in this work whether it's popular or not, and we will continue to fight for the funding alongside each one of you. Know that my office is here, we speak English, we speak Creole, I speak a version of Spanish, and we're getting better. But we are here to serve all of you. We do this work in partnership, and you all lead the way, and we follow. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, I need a timekeeper because again, I know, people are getting hungry and I can smell the food. So we don't want to spend too much time. But it's so important for us to hear, all of the reporting back. But I'm going to really ask you, because I know you have a lot of notes that you will be sending to us so that we can put in the report, but to focus really on those 1, 2, 3 action items that you have discussed and that you feel that we can start working on them right now to make a difference. All right, so we'll start. Just give a little intro and then let's get the clock ticking.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manny Daphnis, and I get to report back from the faith-based philanthropic workshop group. All right. Yeah, woohoo. All right, so really quickly, how much time do I have? Oh, yes, Pastor Kiki. Thank you, sir. 2 minutes. All right. We first started off by looking at some of the challenges that we all kind of collectively face. And we're not going to rehash those. But just to say 3 really quickly: lack of information, lack of coordination, lack of empathy, and funding. And lack of a holistic vision. That was a big one that came up. So we then, after the challenges, began to talk through some solutions from our particular specific space. And solution number 1 for us was in the space of advocacy. We recognize that the renewal of the I-90 as well as TPS that gives a longer, stronger chance for a solution must be raised and awareness must be raised, and that can only really happen through advocacy and education. So advocacy and awareness and education was one major solution area that we thought was necessary. Folks are so siloed and there's a lack of communication and coordination that needs to take place and happen. And so because folks are siloed, lack of communication, the need for coordination is critical. Currently, there's some resource map happening that's being led by the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement, MOIA. And the hope of that is to build out an infrastructure that has resources listed across the general area. Currently, a survey has been created, and this work is ongoing but must continue. Oh man, the brother stood up. We must change the narrative about our neighbors. Faith-based communities, we believe, need to take the lead. And from the philanthropy side, maybe getting volunteers in churches, smaller NPOs to help support that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Great job, great job, great job. Maybe.
Pastor Kiki, are you ready? Huh? Are you ready? Go.
So I'll hold this for you.
Thanks. I'm Amy. I work at JBS in Boston, and my colleagues from Goodwill and I talked about workforce development. Our session was fully bilingual in English and Haitian Creole. We had the workforce development community talked about the services that we provide. Then our job seekers offered their strengths, which are that they are looking for jobs where they can use their hands, where they can take care of people, where they can be a good worker, that they have skills from their jobs in Haiti, that they speak another language, that they have goals for their future, that they can be professional, and that they have people who support them. Then they shared all of their barriers to employment, one of which is that English speakers like Amy speak too fast. They need references in the United States. They need proof of their credentials from Haiti, understanding the American workplace, childcare, transportation, and assistance understanding the technology like reading emails to be able to answer the employers. Then the employers talked about what they're looking for and why they're so frustrated that they can't find people to do these jobs. And we brainstormed solutions of what's in the way between what the employers want and where the job seekers are bringing and where the job seekers are stuck. And we need workforce development services to be able to tie this together. And the biggest problem is that there's not enough money for us to be able to serve all of the people who need services right now.
Wonderful. Great job, great job, great job. Take note, take note, take note, because again, if they need help to access, reference, right? And we have so many organizations here, guess what? We can give them the opportunity for internship to volunteer so that you can write a letter of reference for them. So as they are talking, I want you to be putting your creative thinking cap. What can I do to really support whatever that they are saying right now, okay? So remember, it's it's work in progress. We are thinking through what we can do. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Gina Benjamin with the Haitian Mental Health Network. I'm not seeing Pastor Kiki right now. And so I am with the mental health work group, and we were combined with mental health and physical health, right? Because there is that connection, right? That mind-body connection. And so we discussed a lot. We have several pages of notes, but right now I'll focus on some of the key themes, and then we'll walk away with the solutions. So some of the key themes that we talked about the lack of coordination, coordination and also referrals, and really thinking about non-clinical interventions, right? Sometimes kids just need to play, and how important that is to overall physical health as well as mental health. We also talked about the need for training, right? The need for training, really looking at how do we understand what folks' experiences are? How do we understand how that's manifesting in physical means? And also talking about, looking at things from a trauma-informed, from a gender identity understanding perspective, from a culturally competent perspective as well. So we talked about the need for training, and then we also talked about supporting the workers. So who are the people who are on the front lines, right? And how do we get more folks who are culturally and linguistically able to do this work? And so that really includes professionals, paraprofessionals, patient navigators, family partners, supporting all of those folks as well.
Sorry, I was just going to add, and supporting the workers' mental health needs so they can continue to do the work.
Okay. So IFSI and the Haitian Mental Health Network are two starting places, right? If you're looking to connect with mental health services as well as resources.
Great job, great job, great job. Next.
Do we get extra time? Hi, I'm Andrea from SRFM. So Cindy and I facilitated a housing discussion. Interestingly, it was mostly composed of people who are not working in housing or shelter directly with the families that we're talking about. We had some healthcare workers, we had a landlord, and some people who were volunteering with children or families in some way. For me, I think, just talking a lot about who is working with people who is not obvious to us, right? Cindy was surprised to hear that the nurses and the staff at the clinical centers are getting housing questions every day, specific housing questions. I think that's something we need to address and make sure that in a way that doesn't burden them, we are telling people what is happening and the truth about what's out there. There isn't a housing program for immigrants or anyone in the state. It's just going to get you some housing, right? And I think talking about what it's going to take for people, we had some interesting discussions about education that may be needed. I think someone before me said, what does it mean to be a worker in America? I think we had some conversations about what does it mean to be a tenant in the United States? You know, what are some basic norms and cultural things that you need to understand before you go off into the world? If we get everybody the housing they need tomorrow, are they going to be able to thrive? And then I think we just talked a lot about the shortage of just resources that are available. There's a lot of different systems that are being tasked with doing a lot of this work. People doing housing search, people doing case management. Everyone is stretched, and I think we need to think about how we can best use all the resources that we have, both in government and all of us here who are not in government, to make sure that we can do the best with what we have and not run around chasing other people to try to do things that they can't do.
So I would just add to that the theme of availability of apartments. The vacancy rate is 1.4% in the state, so figuring out how the Office of Housing and Livable Communities can put more emphasis, hire more people, try to find more apartments for people. The need for more community health workers whose job it would be to connect the healthcare professionals with the people who need housing, so there's more information in the healthcare system when people are showing up and asking about housing when they're supposed to be there for medical visits. And the need to really think about the social determinants of health, because people are showing up with high levels of stress and not being able to find adequate food and all the things that are contributing to their healthcare problems because they don't have housing.
I'm going to say one more thing. I think one big thing is that the need for everyone here to do advocacy, and just email me, ask me what campaigns we are doing, what can you work on, because at the end of the day, like Cindy said, there isn't enough housing, there may be enough housing, it's not affordable to people, and so we all can work together to say, you know what, it's not enough just to be like, we're going to build housing, it has to be specific, it has to be targeted, it has to be for real people, so thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Next.
Hi, my name is Cindy Metelas. We're going to be working with immigrant community empowerment, which is going to be a new non-profit to help the immigrants. But today we learn about the SNAP benefits, how people can be eligible for the SNAP benefits. Before, the Haitian, the Cubans, and they call them Cuban and Haitian entrants. They are the people who were eligible for the SNAP benefits. But not, comparing to other people who came in the Biden program, like the Venezuelans and the Nicaraguans. But now we have different categories. We have people with TPS, we have people who apply for asylum, we have people with the dreamers, they can apply as well in for benefits, for the SNAP benefits, because after February, after the month of February, they passed the new SNAP benefits laws to make more people eligible to apply for SNAP benefits. And we're having campaigns like feeding our neighbors, Live Our Kids. There are the programs like to increase more money, more grants for the people. And we have Naomi. She helped us. She asked what are the challenges that Muriel faces, like you see, like when they're applying for the SNAP benefits, like in doing emergency, they don't have any phone numbers, like how they can contact the SNAP DTA to talk to DTA, how they can then become eligible, how she was explaining how they can use family members or their people's phone number, because there are different situations where they don't have an address, because they just came in, they're not really settled down yet here. So, let me see what else I'm gonna go. And they are different, like we have the flyers back there with all the information. So we have everything. Let me see what are the most important things. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Good job. Wonderful, wonderful. Meaning that at least just having access to a phone number or to an address, it's so critical, because when they want to apply, they must have those things. So being good neighbors could really help a number of people access the services. Now, we have our wonderful good, two lawyers going to talk to us about the legal piece.
Thank you so much. Ivan from Lawyers for Civil Rights, and I'm joined by Maggie from GBLS, and another facilitator from the group was Anne from GBLS. So everybody knows the migrants need legal support, and there's not enough free legal support for the migrants. That's the problem. And so one thing that people were talking about is the idea of training more individuals to be able to help out, especially with some of the simple applications. And so we collectively got together. We're going to, and there were over a dozen different organizations in the room, organize a day of action where we will all be joining forces to provide free legal support at various migrant center sites. And so this is going to be a collective effort with dozens of groups, volunteering lawyers and staff. And then the other important thing I want to highlight before I pass the mic is that I want to give kudos to Mira, because Mira will be starting the process of launching a resource guide and hotline for all of the different groups on the ground to have at least the beginning of infrastructure for centralized resources, which is desperately needed. And so kudos to Mira for that, and I'll pass the mic to my colleague Maggie.
Thanks, Yvonne. I wanted to give a shout out to Ann Georges, whose notes I'm going to be reading from, and who did an excellent job of facilitating a lot of the conversation today. She had to leave a little early due to an urgent client matter. But one of the other things that we discussed in the workshop was the difficulties that people face when they're trying to understand the immigration judicial system, in the U.S. And there are a lot of challenges from the time that people arrive at the southern border. They're given a mountain of papers. All of the papers are usually in English. The differences between the immigration court system and ICE and the different agencies are not explained. When people arrive in Massachusetts, there are not enough resources for people to get a basic understanding of their options due to some of the issues that Yvonne raised. But also there's the need that many humanitarian service providers express to integrate kind of them into the system of providing legal information. And so someone had, said that we need a hotline, and then Liz Sweet at Mira was like, well, we're developing a centralized hotline to provide information, which is fantastic, and which would go a long way to meeting the needs for everyone to come together and be given the same set of resources. There was also the discussion of, there are a lot of people who initially get parole, but then there's no mechanism to extend the parole or to renew or to get their initial employment authorization document or to renew it. And so that's a big challenge that many people are facing that we don't necessarily have an immediate solution for. But yeah, so that was one issue. Another major issue was interpretation and the need for provision of interpretation services and culturally competent services across the board. There are a lack of in-person interpreters for many of the humanitarian service providers who are providing work. There was discussion of the need to integrate all of the resources that are given to the city and the state with respect to interpretation and try to come together and spread that information, or the interpreters more broadly. I think that's it, actually. Sorry to be so abrupt.
So thank you. You're not going, education? Okay, wonderful. And quickly, just Liz, I don't want to put you on the spot, but quickly after, I would love for you and your team to come, because I want everyone to hear about all of the advocacy effort that is happening right now. So just right after this one, okay?
So thank you to all of the participants who connected with us in terms of the education platform. And so also a special shout out to the true facilitators, who were Dr. Boyer and Dr. Filippo. As the reporter, we had a wonderful conversation. We talked about the needs and solutions around education for our migrants and our families. We talked about what the future would look like, as well as some of the needs of our community in regards to understanding the types of schools. In terms of needs, we talked about definitely social emotional integration of supports because of our children dealing with a lot of trauma. We talked about this issue of identity struggles, that as our children are traversing multiple countries, they're coming in and some of them are denying their Haitian background roots to affirm born in Chile, born in Brazil. And what they're finding here in the US or in our schools is that there's a struggle. They want to shut off one part, and we want them to embrace all parts of themselves. We talked also about this concept of generational gap due to language acquisition. So our parents may not have access to the ESL, but our children are soaring, and that creates this continuous issue that we already know, that the child becomes the parent in the home, and that impacts also the dynamics of the family, which we want to stabilize. So some of the solutions we discussed was bringing, as a community, all of our resources together to host before school, after school, Saturday school, to help support the maintenance of our language and our culture. Yes, we're going to continue to advocate so that the districts, et cetera, integrate our language and our culture, but there's enough resources in our Haitian community that we can host churches, other types of resources to be able to host these types of events so that our children can learn their language. We also talked about professionals. A lot of our migrants as adults, they're professional medical doctors. One of our participants was a medical doctor. But what are professional ESOL programs available to them so that they can continue in their professional track and not have to start at entry-level positions when they're already coming with these types of assets. And last but not least, to continue to advocate for policy changes for the integration of our language and culture at the higher level. What we did come away with as a summary is of us, for us, by us. There are enough assets in our community that we can stand. It is going to take 10 years, but we need to think about our children and our children's children, that we invest now and not wait for another crisis.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Great job, great job, great job. I'm not missing anyone, right? So again, just for you, we wanted for you to kind of see the complexity, right, of the situation, but also for you to hear that there is hope and we can do so much. So again, that's the idea of us coming together to think creatively about what we can do. We have Liz, come here. Wonderful, from Mira Coalition, guys. You should know. Let's welcome. So I'll let you talk because I don't want to.
Okay, so I am very aware that I'm standing between everyone and lunch, so I'm going to make this very brief. But just a few things that I think are worth sharing, since Dr. Gabot asked me to talk about this 2 minutes ago. Mira advocates for immigrants and refugees with so many of the organizations in this room, particularly the state and federal level. And I want to start by talking about the federal, because we're facing a really difficult moment at the federal level right now. Unfortunately, right now in Washington, there is a serious push to gut our entire asylum system and shut down our border, which goes against everything that all of us in this room stand for and believe in as our, and our values call us toward. And so Mira and so many organizations here have been standing up to fight this. We are incredibly proud that organizations in Massachusetts managed to talk to our senators, and our senators we had the only state where both of our senators on the Democratic side voted against this terrible bill that would have really destroyed the entire asylum system and shut down our border. And so this is a huge moment where we're going to be continuing to fight on this, and it's important for everyone to realize that this is a backdrop for everything happening here in Massachusetts right now. Alongside that, I think most of us know that our state budget is very tight this year, and that a lot of the conversation, of course, is placing some of the blame for that on immigrants, which is not right. We have a housing crisis in this state. We don't have an immigration crisis, and yet so often we talk about an immigration crisis. And so we all, I think, have seen that there's a lot of discussion about ways of capping the shelter system or limiting folks' access to the shelter system. That continues to be an important issue at our State House. Under discussion right now is the state budget. And so the question of how much budget will actually be allocated into the housing system is so important, as so many of us know. MIRA is also advocating for more funds to be made available for some of the services that new immigrants need in addition to shelter, particularly legal and case management services, especially for folks who are in the shelters right now. We're also advocating around ESOL services, workforce, and more. And one of our big bills right now that we are pushing, again, in partnership with so many of you, is the Language Access and Inclusion Act, which would build more government funding for state-facing government agencies to have information available in all the languages that are spoken here in the Commonwealth. So that's another important lift right now. And then finally, the thing that I'm most excited about that we are doing at the MIRA Coalition that I really want to invite all of you to participate in is that on Tuesday, March 12th, and then for the following 2 weeks leading up to our big Immigrants Day at the State House, which everyone is again invited to join, show up to the State House, show the power of the immigrant communities to our state representatives on, again, Thursday, March 28th. You can sign up online. But leading up to them, oh, what time? It starts at 9 and goes until about 12. The big program will be 10 to 11 in the State House. But leading up to that, we are launching a campaign called Courage to Welcome. Because right now, we know that there's so many people who are starting to say, maybe we don't need so many immigrants here in Massachusetts, right? And there's this public narrative that we have to counter and say, no, Massachusetts stands for welcome. Immigrants are bringing so much value, making so many important contributions to Massachusetts, and we are all standing together to welcome. So I invite you to join us in that campaign. It's primarily social media campaign, so it's really easy to post, to lift it up. Hashtag Courage to Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very important for us to know about all of those, advocacy effort that is going on, because so often, the other group is very vocal, and then we are silent, and that's what we need to change, right? Because when they keep on repeating something, guess what? It becomes like true for them. For example, we were together when the governor was launching the new overflow site, and then a reporter stood up and said, oh yeah, we are worried about all of those illegal immigrants. And then in all of the papers, the newspaper, and when they are reporting about the new, immigrants who are coming, you always hear the word illegal, illegal, illegal. But guess what? Before you know it, people are going to believe that those are illegal immigrants. When in fact, we all know, right? We all know they are not illegal, right? So many of them have been either paroled, they are here on the TPS, they are here on the different provisions. But they just put everyone in just one bucket, calling them illegal. So if we do not counteract this narrative, people are going to believe that, yes, we are dealing with illegal or illegal immigrants who are coming here to destroy or to take away or to do whatever else that they want to show. So that's one of the reasons why we as a community of immigrants, of advocates, we need to be out there. We need to be at the table. They need to hear our voice. We cannot let them, tell the narrative for us. We need to be present. And whenever there is a bill, whenever there is a movement, we need to hear from you. Because when we don't, guess what? The other voices are so loud that they are going to really keep us down. So again, very important for us to stay informed, so to stay involved, because at the end of the day, it's about who is showing up, right? If you don't show up, you're not there, you're absent. So you need to be present. All right, so I don't want to keep you, so we're going to give a big round of applause to everyone for all. And then, to end, I'm going to invite my facilitators from this morning to come forward again. Joanne, please come. Yes. My panelists, my facilitators to come forward. Yes, here. I mean, we can stand. We're going to make it fast. All of you, where are you? Miss Jermaine, Andrea, Come back, come back. Christina, come back, come back. Where's Toboyo? Come back. No. I'm missing some. Larry, where are my people? I'm missing a few, right? All right. Okay. So this was not part of the agenda, but again, I thought it was very important for us to bring everyone together. As when you are coming, when you are thinking about what you are going to share, and now that we are here, at the end of the day, we're going to say goodbye to everyone. What is a word of advice, or of encouragement, or of warning that you can share with our audience before they leave? So who wants to start first? Okay.
Again, I'm Joanne Hilferty from Morgan Memorial Goodwill Industries, and I chair the workforce group. My word of encouragement is that with all the challenges of finding jobs, the Massachusetts economy needs labor and needs the incredible skills and resilience and capability of the folks who are looking for jobs. And we need to work together to make sure that we have a win-win, that the economy grows, and people have opportunities for family-sustaining jobs. We'll get there.
Hi, Gina Benjamin, Haitian Mental Health Network, and also William James College. For me, it's the importance of being intentional about building cultural and linguistically responsive behavioral health services. So that includes training, supporting, and retaining a culturally and linguistically diverse workforce. Thank you.
All right. So I'm thinking that one, talking to what sometimes I call the choir, like-minded people that are invested into this work from, your toes all the way up to the core. It's extremely important to re-energize ourselves, to learn from each other, to see how we can support each other for two reasons. One, we should not ever reinvent the wheel. If there's someone else that already is doing that, let's share resources. So figuring out how to share resources is very important. It takes intentionality. So make sure that you grab each other's card, that you put each other's in each other's cell phone, so that you can say, that thing that you mentioned that you have, can you share it with me? And be generous with your sharing. No one needs to be creating something that you already created. So let's help each other in that way. And number two, let's be intentional about going out and speaking outside of the choir. Who are those people that we can talk to today, that we can talk to tomorrow, that are not part of this conversation, that we don't know if they even think like us, but that we really need to start humanizing all of these topics by having those intentional conversations with them and seeing how we can bring them closer to this work, to connect them to this work, and see how they can help, or at least to prevent them from voting the wrong way later on.
Hi, again, I'm Naomi Meyer with Greater Boston Legal Services. I work on public benefits, and I guess what I would like to say to all of you, my words of encouragement is that there are concrete things that every one of us can do to try to improve access to essential public benefits for newly arrived and others, but in this, for newly arrived immigrants. There are two campaigns working hard to address some of these issues. One is the Feeding Our Neighbors campaign. You can check them out at feedingourneighborsna.org, and they're working on ensuring that all lawfully present immigrants can access your basic safety net benefits, including they were successful in getting the recently launched state SNAP program in place. So we really want to make sure y'all know that they need support to keep this effort going. They're fighting now for funding for those state SNAP benefits to continue in the next fiscal year. And the other campaign I spent a lot of my time working on is the Lift Our Kids campaign. liftourkidsma.org, and we are working to ensure that cash assistance grants for those who do need them and qualify for them, which is most of the Haitian new arrivals, that those benefits are increased to be enough that people can actually live on it. So you get this benefit that you are eligible for, and then it's not really enough to buy what your child needs, and we want to try to address that problem. So, these are big statewide efforts, but everybody can play a role in reaching out to their own legislators and asking them to support these. Thank you.
Say after me, I am enough. I am enough. My word of encouragement to you is that you are enough. All the thoughts, ideas, collaborations, networking that happen in this room is enough to transform the society and the community that we are in to respond to this need. My charge to you is that you take care of yourself, that you find time for self-care. Make sure that as you're building other people's families, you don't neglect yours, because you are enough.
How can I follow that? I would like to say, I think for anyone who was in our session, I said a lot of really sad things. So I'm sorry about that. And I think it's not a warning, but just a sort of reality check on where we are. I feel so happy to be in this room. I'm also a child of immigrants, and I never had a meeting like this or gathering where I could feel so warm. So I'm going to consider myself adopted now. I think that all of you can absolutely take this energy. I'm working with a grassroots coalition called Homes for All Mass, homesforallma.org. It's really nascent. We're just trying to build like housing justice power all across the state. So I think a lot of what we are feeling, we can plug into. I think, we're fighting for some caps on rent increases. If you don't like that, come talk to us about another policy. I think we do need to take that time for our self-care and then open our hearts just a little bit more and make sure that we can talk to each other across our boundaries and across our, state, not state, NGO, not NGO. We're not perfect, any of us. We're all trying. We assume that about ourselves, and I think we can do it. And I want to say that housing is a human right, and we have to fight for it that way. And we can provide shelter. If we can't provide housing later, that's okay. We have to be able to provide a safe place for people to sleep. And that's where we're going to start. Thank you.
So I would just end on the need to lift up the voices of the people who are welcoming immigrants to our state. There's been so much negative publicity of people who are trying to say that immigrants shouldn't be here, that migrant families shouldn't be coming to Massachusetts. And we know that's not the majority of people in our state. We know that the faith communities, that the community-based organizations, that the resettlement agencies are here to welcome people. And what we can do to lift up those voices and make people understand that our state needs immigrants and wants immigrants. That's what I want to come out of this.
I know that I'm missing a few of my panelists for this morning, but again, for me, I just want to really say how grateful I am to have all of you, working side by side with us. We know it's not easy. We know the job. We have never signed up for easy job, right? As a matter of fact, we love when it's difficult, because when it's difficult, it really pushes us for us to really get out of our comfort zone and discover new possibilities. So I am very, very grateful for your time, for your contribution, for everything that you have done to make this first day. Remember, it is the first one. We're going to have many more by sectors, because we need to bring, all of the sectors together. We need to discuss them. We need to brainstorm, and we need to start thinking outside of the box. What can we do to make things better? So to me, it's a great, great joy to be with you, and I'm so grateful to not only those of you who are sitting here, but so many of you in the room that I can call at any given time. And I said, there is this, I need that, and all of you jump in to help us and to support us. So right now, as I'm talking about concrete steps, I just want you to understand that we have thousands of people who need access to English classes. Any one of you, you just need to have an hour or 2 hours available a week. You can make a difference by coming and meet with a group of people and helping them access English classes. So if there is one thing that you can start doing is this, because we believe by giving them, the language skills, we are also opening doors of opportunities for them. And as Christina, Woni, and Susan, and all the entire team at ORI, they are working, because so often, I have to say that, so often we tend to look at the state and then, punch them down and, but we do know the work is not easy. And we do know there are people who are making a difference. So we so appreciate all of you for all of the hard work that you are doing. So we need housing, we need temporary shelters. So anyone who has an extra room, anyone who has a good, safe basement, anyone who can connect us to a landlord, we said, okay, I don't need to go to all of the, paperwork. I can, give that room to you. Please be in touch with us, because we do not like to see our brothers and sisters sleeping at the airport. And no one wants that. So we want to make sure that we can open up more opportunities for them. So anything, like that's the reason why I said, we can do so much when we come together and we say, let's open our hearts. Because so often we're thinking about the big thing, but there are so many little things. Reading to a child. We have so many kids with us, spending an hour just reading to them, or taking them to a field trip to discover their community. Anything that you can do to help is greatly appreciated. And the good thing is that our community, the immigrant, I'm telling you, you have to see, how grateful they are for everyone who is coming to help and to do something. So when you do that, you invest in the long term. So there is never, something that you can say that I cannot do that. There's always something that you can do. And for this, as you are living today, I just want you to really think outside of the box. Think about your sister, your brother, your cousin, your neighbor, your colleagues, your classmates. Call them. Tell them that there is something happening right now, and we need your help. And you will see how many volunteers that will have to teach English classes, or to be with the kids, or to help us open up doors to the families who are in need of help. Or just to have a shoulder on each cry, because as you hear from the mental health, they need someone to speak to so often, just to cry, because so many times they feel isolated, they feel alone. So just to tell them that you are not alone, I am with you. So there are things that you can do. And for my faith leaders who are here, let's pray. Let's pray. Let's pray for them. Because we believe in the power of prayer, right? We believe in the power of prayer, right? Prayer does work. And then, when you cannot do something, I said, go on your knees and say, Lord, what can I do? And believe, before you know it, something will open up. So again, last word is that I am so grateful. And thank you. Thank you so much for coming and for spending this time with us. So, where's Jennifer? So I just want to make sure that we really acknowledge, where's Alex? Alex, where's Alex? Where's Jennifer? Where's everyone? Alex. So all of the logistic work that has been happening, emailing and putting everything together, Alex has been, so I need to call him Doctor, David, because he just defended his thesis. And then now he's a doctor. So Alex speaks Haitian Creole. Alex has been with us for, I don't know how many years, 5 years, since after he came from Haiti. And then we want to say thank you, Alex, for all of the wonderful work that you're doing. All right. Miss Jennifer, as you can see, it's like we, the presentation that we saw, I was supposed to do the presentation, and I said to Jennifer, I know that you can do the presentation, just, okay. And then before you know it, she shared so much information. So she is, the power behind everything else. Even when you don't see her, if you see me doing something, just think about Jennifer is behind me. So thank you, Jennifer, for doing that. And where's, again, my entire team, because I don't want to start naming you. If you could just wave so that we can see you. Where is, Franklin? Where is Dominic? Where is, yes, Anthony Zama? Dr. Celestine, again, every day working at the office with families to provide that support, emotional support. So, Dr. Celestine, thank you so much. So, was the food good or not? Did you eat the food? And did you feel, was it good? So, this entire team working on, food, logistics, driving, everything else. So, we are so grateful to each and everyone. Media team, where are you? Media team. So before you leave, they want you to come and take a picture before you leave so that they can share. So where's Pastor Kiki? Pastor Kiki is not here. Oh, what are you going to, I mean, since when Pastor Kiki used to sit? I know you're always here. You are tired, right? Yeah, so also quickly, this young man that you see all the way in the suit right there, that's my husband. So it's important for you to understand that if I'm able to do the work that I'm doing, it's because by God's grace, I was granted with a wonderful young man who loves me unconditionally. Whether or not he can find me, he still loves me. And so often he said, can you put the laptop away? And the phone, can you put the phone away? So I'm like, okay, just 10 more minutes. And then before you know it, he goes to sleep. So again, so we are so grateful for everyone who has been doing so much work. All of my staff from Brockton, from Worcester, from Malden, and Mattapan, all of you, we are so grateful.